24/7 News.
Now to the victims of the war in Ukraine that have been left behind. Millions of Ukrainians have fled their country and found safety, but among the rubble you see what they were forced to abandon. It's a crisis half a world away. People's pets who just months ago lived with their families.
Yeah, these animals were left with little hope to survive a war by themselves. But tonight, we're able to show you how there is hope for these animals coming directly from the Puget Sound.
These are the dahlias.
Beautiful.
Aren't they amazing?
Yes. In this beautiful flower field.
I know, I love them. Absolutely love them.
A gentle grandmotherly voice.
Look at, aren't they just gorgeous?
Told us the brutal and bruising truth of what it is like to trade this piece of heaven for a peek at hell.
Bullets everywhere. This is the sort of thing that we were seeing. Just devastation.
War in Ukraine. Kim Morgan was moved by images like this. She saw the devastation and she heard her calling. These are the animals that missed the deadline that came and passed without warning. When Ukrainians began to flee their country, many were able to take their pets. But the wave of refugees became a tsunami. More than 6 million people fled, and animals were no longer allowed.
And so what do? Do you leave the animal? Do you not leave? Do you not help your child escape? You know, what do you do? So that has to be a devastating decision.
An estimated 1 to 2 million pets left behind. Dan Fine from Edmonds heard the calling too.
Go for a little ride. Take care of you.
The tech entrepreneur started Ukrainian War Animals Relief Fund.
No one could tell me that I shouldn't do it. I had to do it.
He gathered donations and volunteers with like minds and hearts like Kim. Their group of 9 headed for Ukraine, and it seemed like the animals were just waiting for them. You can tell right away which ones have missing families.
Oh, yeah. And they love the human bond. You know, they're happy to see you.
Happy and desperate for the help. But it takes more than a bag of dog food. Kim risked everything to do something else. Why?
Because I could help. Bottom line is help. For me, the most important thing we can do is prevent overpopulation.
Ukraine had a robust spay and neuter program. But that ended when the war began.
How many we got?
And now the animal population
7 of them
threatens to explode.
And it's a bit like COVID. It compounds at an increasing rate, which is phenomenal.
Kim is a vet tech, experienced with setting up MASH-type vet units. Each sterilized animal represents an exponential number of animals spared the suffering.
This one's a little more crowded, huh?
They joined Ukrainians who, in the face of war, made this their battle.
She's a first-year veterinarian student, and her house leveled. Her mom's house leveled. She's sleeping on the couch of a neighbor or a friend's house.
They teamed with 42 Ukrainian volunteers who were so dedicated, so proficient. Their initial goal was to alter 500 animals, and they wound up doing 3 times that.
These people are lined up for spay-neuter because they care about their pets. They are there. And so it was amazing because you would think, possibly, that they would have so much on their mind, just survival, that wouldn't be on their priority list. But man, it was on their priority list.
But survival had to stay on Kim's list. She saw bombed out buildings, tanks, and cars that once held people trying to escape.
And at this clinic, I could hear warplanes going over. They sounded low, and we heard them multiple times during a day.
Kim knew it was time to leave.
I had a teary goodbye with them.
She knows it was the right decision for her family, for her own animals at home. But she tells me she feels guilty. So why do you feel regret about that?
Because I feel like I didn't finish my mission. I could have done more. And yeah, it's hard. It's really hard.
She thinks about what she left in Ukraine. the animals and the people.
Kim, good morning.
They send her messages to show they are still alive and they are still fighting.
She said, this is on our way to the clinic. It was blue sky and sunflowers. Kim, she's Kim, it's our Ukrainian flag.
And so even back in Kingston, Kim feels part of the same battle and the same faith
They absolutely turn and follow the sun.
that they will win.
There's this devastation, and here you are focused on helping these animals and just slogging it out. And they said, that's because we believe in victory. They believe in victory.
Boy, that's optimism, huh?
It's an amazing story, and even under the threat of bombs and violence, it was still so difficult for them to leave.
Yeah, they saw so many things there, including the shelter that you wouldn't believe. It just goes on forever. They left, but they made it clear they did not quit. And tonight at 7 o'clock, you're going to hear more about the founder of this group that went there. He talks about his plan to tackle the crisis on a broader scale. It's a tough, huge issue, but there is hope there.
It's awesome, amazing work being done by great people.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Tonight in New at 7, hope amidst heartbreak of so many people's pets left behind and left to fend for themselves in war-torn Ukraine. Now at 5, we showed you Monique's great heartfelt story about the crisis half a world away and the people from Puget Sound region who went there to help as many animals as they could.
Amazing people. And now new at 7, you will see the much bigger plans they have, the huge effort they're launching to help an entire nation of pets.
We're in love. So he goes with me everywhere.
For Dan Fine in Edmonds, there is really only one thing that can tear him away from his pup, Kal-El, or actually thousands.
You've never seen anything like it.
We've seen some of what's happened in Ukraine. The bombs, the destruction. Millions have escaped, but not what they were forced to leave behind.
They all come running out to you, giving you kisses, happy to see you, just like you're coming home, and they're just living on their own.
An estimated 1 to 2 million family pets now roaming the streets, grateful for scraps. Others relatively lucky to end up here. The shelter Dan visited, where just 8 people are dedicated to helping all these animals.
They have swelled in size since the war. People are just throwing animals over the fence when they're evacuating. And their whole area was occupied by Russians. And they have currently 3,114 dogs and 209 cats. And he gives it in Ukrainian and in English.
Dan is a tech entrepreneur. He has started and sold 6 companies. He makes things happen. He went to Ukraine to see what he could do for abandoned pets. He brought donated food to any animal or family he could reach and met dedicated Ukrainian vets and volunteers.
And they said, you're missing the bigger picture here. And so, what is it?
The bigger problem, every animal he helped threatened to multiply. According to the Humane Society, one unspayed dog can have about 16 puppies in 1 year. All of those dogs collectively can have 508 puppies the next year. Multiply that by another year. By year 6, that's 67,000 dogs.
What's going to happen is this overpopulation or this avalanche of animals is coming.
And that avalanche carries another huge threat, rabies, already a public health issue in Ukraine for animals and people.
So we have to stop this right now. And there's no time to waste. And so we've got to go big and we have to go hard. And that is going after sterilizations and vaccinations.
So Dan started Ukrainian War Animal Relief Fund to bring volunteers to Ukraine, like Kim Morgan, a vet tech from Kingston.
The more I thought about it, the more I thought it would be right for me.
Why?
Because I could help. Bottom line is help.
Ah, it's busy.
The help looks like this. They give support and supplies to vet staff already in Ukraine. They set up mobile clinics. Pets are spayed or neutered, vaccinated, microchipped, and have their pictures taken.
We get a picture of their nose And the nose is the way they do facial recognition.
An animal's nose is unique, like a fingerprint, and pictures go into the UWRF database.
Dogs have amazingly complex noses.
That is wild.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Vaccinations can be verified and put in so-called pet passports that allow animals to be taken across borders, either for adoption or even maybe to be reunited with their families. In 1 month, UWRF treated almost 3,000 animals.
I fell in love with a number of them.
But they couldn't stay.
There were frequent air raids. There were alerts on your phone saying that, this area of Ukraine is under missile attack.
With fighting threatening to close in, they reached every animal they could. They helped thousands.
That must be so gratifying, but then you have to walk away.
Oh, heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
They had to leave because of battle. But Dan plans to win the war.
Heartbreaking.
It is. It takes a toll. So how do you get yourself to go and how did you get yourself to keep working?
Well, because you got to focus on the bigger picture, right? And say, how can we help more animals?
Oh, Monique, you're a dog owner. When I see that dog shrinking so close to
It's awful.
probably shell-shocked.
Yes.
And then going in to somebody who's all heart, a little bit of food with a lot of favors.
And she had puppies. He wanted to take her with him, but the puppies weren't around, and you just can't do that. So he had to feed her and keep going.
Can you, while the package is rolling, I asked you, you have 2 dogs. Can you imagine dropping those dogs off at a train station and hoping that they stick together and fend for themselves?
It takes a big heart and big dedication like Dan to be able to look into those faces and go, okay, I'm going to take this on, because these are big problems. But he does have big plans. Tomorrow, Dan Fine's going to be here live at 4 o'clock. We're going to be able to talk to him about what he's doing. He's bringing in Microsoft. He's talking to the Humane Society International, even the World Health Organization. He's trying to get them all on board for this huge, huge project that could make such a difference.
Great work. Man, he's a huge heart. Great story.